Alright, just for fun, I thought I'd have a go at making a rose that I had never made before and see if I could put it together and make it somehow look a little bit like how it's meant to be. I asked on Facebook and Instagram if there was any particular rose that you might want, and there were quite a few requests. I picked out one that was quite popular. It's called Blue Moon. This might be your favourite rose. So I've googled quite a few pictures of it. I've had a long look at it and I think I might be able to make it. I thought it might be fun to film this so you can see what trouble I might get myself into, or hopefully maybe the successes that I have. And it also might help you out in the meantime to give you some idea of what I do, what the thought processes are, what I do when I'm trying to make a rose for the first time. So I've got my computer here, I've googled a few pictures. I've picked out one that I think looks like the Blue Moon rose, a typical Blue Moon rose, and it's kind of pretty. I kind of like how the petals are folding back. I like how the inner petals are quite tightly scrolled as well. So I've got some paste here which I've coloured up already, and this is flower paste that I make myself. I use a fondant and I add a few ingredients to it and it comes out firm like Play-Doh, and I really enjoy using it. And I've coloured this up. I've used, what purple colour did I use? I used grape violet, sugar flare, and that's made a really nice purple colour. So it's actually, Blue Moon is purple, not really blue, but I guess on mass it looks kind of bluish. So I've got a darker colour and I've got a lighter colour for the Blue Moon. So we're going to start off with the darker. It's going to be darker on the inner petals and lighter when we get to the outer petals. I'll put on my glasses and I can see. So I'm just going to soften this up. So this has been coloured up for a few days, so it's really nice and firm to use. Just keep kneading that until I can get it quite pliable. I've taken some notes just by looking at the rose. I took some notes as to what I thought I might do on each row. So row 1, for example, I've got cover the bud, how many petals on the second row, and how I'm going to dry them. So I've got a rough idea of what I could do. I keep changing my mind though, but it's kind of fun the first time you make a rose. You can make some changes and it's really amazing if it turns out really good as well. So kneading that up nicely. So I'm going to be using my pasta machine to roll it out. Because it's quite a firm paste, to get it quite thin is really difficult. So if you get a head start with the pasta machine, that makes it easy. I've got all my tools here. I don't quite know what I'm going to use. So I brought the whole lot out, a few drying cavities, a few cutters. I've got some rose cutters and some circle cutters and a few veiners. So I think I'm all ready. I have here 1-inch polystyrene ball just glued onto a half-length barbecue stick. I'm only guessing, but I think that's kind of the size that I might want. Not too big. So 1 inch, you can go bigger with your polystyrene balls, but I've just got a 1-inch one there. Right, I'm going to flatten this out a little bit first. This is the darker purple, lavender. And I'm going to put this through my pasta machine. So in this video tutorial, I'm going to have quite a few breaks while I go off and roll out or go off and try and dry off the petals in the oven. So I'll be cutting it out, so it's going to come in and out a little bit. My apologies for that, but that's just how it's going to be. That's what it's like when you make a rose for the first time. I might even have to rip petals off and start again. So I'm going to put this through the pasta machine and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've rubbed that out on my pasta machine and it's quite thin. Not translucent, but still quite thin. So I'm just going to stretch it out a little bit more. Right, and I'm going to use my largest rose petal cutter. That's about 7 centimetres long. So I'm going to use this to cover the bud. So I'll punch out one of these. That's that, so I'll deal with that. You have to keep this covered. I've got a little bag here which I'll put it in while you're not using it. So I'm going to thin the edges of this with a ball tool, pressing half on, half off that petal with the ball tool and pressing quite firmly. This row, I call it row 1 or the first petal, you're not going to see this at all. The other petals are going to come up and cover that centre petal. But I'm going to flatten it out, I want it flat. So I'm going to attach this to the polystyrene ball using some sugar glue, and I make this up myself, and I have a recipe on YouTube. If you look up Leslea Matsis cakes on YouTube, you'll find a recipe on how to make sugar glue. So I'm going to cover the whole petal with sugar glue. You want quite a lot because I want to be able to slide it. So turning it sideways, placing your ball in the centre, I'm just going to wrap that around like a little cape, forming a spiral at the top. Now it's not quite there, as you can see. I'm going to need another stick just to tighten that up a little bit. I need to have a look like that. Yeah, I just have a little play with it till I'm happy with how it looks. Yep, that looks good. I'll try and centre it a little bit. I'll just leave all that paste, I'm just going to push up underneath the ball, and I'm happy with that. It's a cute little spiral. Okay, the next row, first row, so far so good. Let's try the second one. Same coloured paste. I think I might use, on this rose, I could have used rose petal cutters, but I'm going to use my circle cutters. So for this row, I'm going to use, hold it up, it's about right. I'm going to stretch it out so it's more translucent, it's more thinner than this. So I think that size is good, and that size is a number, it's a 3.5 centimetre circle cutter. So really what I need to do is write it down as I go. So 3.5 cc circle cutter. So I'm going to cut 2 for this row. And this time, instead of thinning the edges by using my ball tool, I'm going to use my rolling pin. And I'm going to roll out the edges. This will thin the whole petal at the same time. And I'm going to try and get it in a rough circular shape, but it is going to end up being bigger than that original cut. So a couple of sizes bigger. So that's one. I want this to dry off a little bit. So keep looking at my picture. So the picture I've got here, the Blue Moon Rose, is roughly all the same colour. But I'm going to just do the graduation of colour. Other pictures of Blue Moon Roses, they've got quite a dark centre and coming to the lighter outer petals. So no veiner at this point. So we want to just flap them around a little bit, dry them off. Usually I'll wait a few minutes or put them in the oven, but that won't be too bad, I think. So let's put glue, almost covering the whole thing, but leave the top bit. There we go. So I'm going to cover up this spiral and all that shaggy bits around the edge. You won't see those because I'm just about to cover them up. So that's where the join is here. So I'm going to put one petal covering that join. Where's the non-glued bit? So we're going to cover it like a little cape. I've just got glue on my thumb. That's not good. And I'm going to cover up the opposite side now. Probably a bit too much glue because they're a little difficult to put on. And they're quite thin, so I probably didn't need quite so much glue. Just tightening it up a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. I like how that looks. Just by pulling, tightening. Where's my stick? Stretching it out a little bit so it looks natural. Yeah, I think that's a good centre. Okay, next row. 2 rows, so far so good. What am I going to do here? So I've done the 1, the 2, I might do 3. Some roses you go 1, 3, 5, 7, up like that with your petals. But this one, it's got quite a tight concentration of petals around that centre. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, probably 4, 5, I think. So the same size. 1, 2, so we'll do 3. 1, 2, 3. Put that away, and we're going to thin them the same way. Using our rolling pin. Notice I don't need any cornstarch at this point, and this isn't a non-stick board, this is just my marble slab. But I don't know what it is, but this paste doesn't seem to want to stick, and that's good at the moment. So I'm going to want to dry out this row just a little bit more. They're a little bit hard to put on. So we'll probably have to take a little break, and I'll give them just a little bit more time to dry. So there's 1, 2, and 3. They're quite thin, they're quite fragile, but I might just give them just a few minutes to firm up a little bit. I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, it's been just a few minutes. I think if I don't put so much glue on, I think they'll be easier to put on. So I'll just do a little bit coming down each side. Whoops. What I should have done too is I should have washed my hands, because if you get glue on your hands with petals that are this thin, that's a disaster. So I might just do that. Oops, don't get water on the computer, it will be the end of me. And I'll just dry them off. Right, so here we've got the 1 and the 2. Now I'm going to probably go quite tight here. Maybe I'll tighten that up a little bit more. which I can still do. Maybe not. Yes, I can. Without destroying what I've done already. Okay. 1. Up a bit higher this time. 2. And pulling out 1, putting in 3. Fixing it up. Thankfully they haven't stuck too hard. Yep. I'm happy with that. It's a nice little beginning of a rose. You could almost start any rose this way. The Blue Moon, the one I'm looking at anyway, has got quite a busy little centre with all the rows happening here. It's quite pretty in that colour too. So that's 1, 2, 3, let's do 4. Same size cutter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5, we might go up a size. 3. 2, 3, 4. This part of the rose is a little bit tedious. Each row has been done the same. So let's thin. Again, same again. One. So some of the roses I make, I just stay on the number 1 setting on my pasta machine. Well, there's one particular rose I make, I'm on, I think, the 3rd setting. It's just a bit thicker. But I'm really loving the look of these fragile petals on some of the roses I've been doing lately. Depends if you want that chunkier look. Just using my little stick here just to detach it from the board. So that's our 4 petals for the next row. Stretching it out all the way round. And I'll let these dry off a little bit and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, I dried these off a little bit in the oven. And they are not sticky at all, they're kind of papery, so they'll be nice and easy to stick on. So let's glue up just down the sides in a V shape of each petal. I'm kind of deciding which part of the petal is going to be the top. That one's quite small. That one, I might see if I can stretch that out a bit. Yep. That's better. So, getting a rose. Just looking at my picture, they've got the tips are just turned over slightly. I've actually changed my picture. It's another one I've got of the Blue Moon rose, but this one gives me a little bit more detail. So let's start over a join, covering up. 1, 2, 3. I'm going higher on my rows. 1, 2, 3, and I think that's too high, so I'm going to take those off. Start again. This is what you do when you first make a rose. Just going to re-glue because they won't slide so well. Let's have another try. Just a touch higher. Whoa. Some more glue on my finger. 1, that's better. Just a little bit higher. One. Which one? This one. 2. Spacing them evenly. Yep, that's a good height. 3. Maybe pull them down with my thumb if I think they're creeping up. And this one, it seems to be a bit bigger than the rest, but we'll use it. 4. Folding over the tops with my middle finger. That one seems to be a bit lower, so move it up. Playing around with it till I'm happy with how it looks. How do you look? Kind of good. That one there is a bit low. Yep. Just trying to get that roll over at the top right. Sometimes it can take a while till I'm happy with it. Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe attach them a little bit just by rolling it round. Okay, there it is. The edge is rolled over nicely. Okay, now we're up to the bigger petals. This will be a row of 5. So I'm going to use the bigger cutter. And I'm going to do 5. Woohoo! 4. And roll it out very quickly for one more. And one more. This is on the bigger, how big was it? Just over 4 centimetres. All right, let's thin these out again. I'm going to vein this row. I have 2 rose petal veiners. One has a softer imprint and this one actually is my favourite one, but I've noticed that the Blue Moon Rose has quite a deep impression of the veins, so I'm going to use this pink one, and the grooves are a lot deeper. So we'll go ahead and we'll vein these, keeping the thicker end at the bottom and the thinner end of the petal at the top. Doing all 5. Pushing quite firmly. Maybe rolling that one out slightly. Now on my right hand side here I have a sphere mould, and this is a 6.5 centimetre sphere mould, and these are perfect for drying our petals. So I'm going to tip that upside down, but first this row I can spot on my picture, they're a little bit curly, so I'm going to just curl back the edges, but not tightly, and then place it on the back. Pinch the back of the petal so it hugs it more, and I've just lost all the curls there. So I'll put them back in. I might have to use my fingers to put them in the end anyway. So doing that to each petal, curling, placing on the mould, pinching the back and pushing it over and attaching it by squeezing to the rest of the petal. I'll do another one. Curling the edges, pinching the back, pushing it over and squeezing. Now I've done some already, my camera actually went out, so I've done this step already and I've had them drying. I'm just going to slide this over here and grab the ones I've had drying. So these are firmed up a little bit, the backs are squeezed, they're nice and papery, so perfect for sticking on our next row. Glasses on. So a little bit of glue, that's a lot of glue, a little bit of glue down each side. I think I can hear a cat. The cat has come. We have the neighbour's cat comes over to visit us, and her name is Mushy, and she's very adorable. Okay, that's where we got up to last time. Now what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and unpick one of these just to see if it's going to work a little bit. Oh, it did. It came off. I'm going to try and insert. Can I do that? Because this row kind of seems like it carries on from the previous row. So I'm going to try and insert that in there. Now I've got a very gooky finger. Now that means though, it's overlapping there. Oh yeah, that's going to work. Overlap that one. No, that's not going to work. Oh, maybe it is going to work. Oh, there's the putty. I just want to make sure they're all circling the same way still. Because that now means that that's going to open up from that side instead of this side. Hang on, take it off till I can work it out. undo that. So if I want it to carry on, pinch that. Now I've lost my shape. So maybe I'll just place it over. And so it still keeps spiralling the same way. I'm going to have to keep coming back that way. Yeah, it was a good thought anyway. I kind of wanted to tuck into that previous row, but I don't think that's going to work. I haven't thought it out properly yet. That way, we'll keep going. 1, 2, 3. 4. 5. Now just have a wee play around with these. These are looking good. They're not sitting so close. I kind of wanted to merge this row with the previous row, but that's not going to work. Because on the rows in the picture, that's what it does. Oh, I'm losing all my petals. Ah! That happens sometimes. Tip it upside down. I need to wash my hands as well. They are a little bit tighter in there. I'm going to roll that over. I am just going to wash my hands and come back. So just place it in there. I'll be back in a minute. It's looking quite pretty. Maybe some have a more sharper. That one there. See if I can roll it while holding it. Ooh. That looks good. Maybe a bit more of a chunkier roll. That looks good. Some of them have got to roll all the way down. What I need to do in a minute is I need to put this whole thing in the oven. Alright, while my rose is drying in the oven, I'll get going with the next row of petals. So I've changed to the lighter colour and I'm just softening this paste up. Just getting it nice and pliable. Looking at my picture, I'm seeing the rose is not exactly, they've got some unusual petals overlapping in unusual places. So it's not as if each petal goes around overlapping neatly the one before. So you might have to messy it up a little bit. So maybe I might drag it out of the oven. See, at the moment, that looks very well fanned out. I need to kind of take out a petal, just to messy it up, make it a little more odd looking. That's it. A petal missing. Should we put that one somewhere else? Don't know, maybe just leave it off. I can glue the rest down a little bit. Just to see what we can do here. We'll add that in an odd place on the other side. Just for fun, I don't know why, but... And that kind of looks like my picture with a heavy side, and then that one kind of finishing. Now we'll keep going. Well, this is kind of fun. We'll see how it's going to look. So this is the lighter colour paste. And I'm kneading that up. It actually hasn't been covered. So I need to get that nice and flexible and soft and Play-Doh like without any cracks in it. I can kind of knead the cracks back into the paste. Okay, that's feeling quite good. So we're going to put this through the pasta machine. And I might actually, yeah, I might do it on a number 1, but I don't think I'll thin them out that much. Get rid of all that. So I'd probably like to do a few of these outer petals with wires in them as well. I think that might be quite good. So this is the lighter coloured purple. I think it might have actually had a bit of lilac in there too, maybe a touch of lilac. It's been a few days ago, I can't quite remember what I did. I'm pretty sure it was Sugar Flare, the purple, that's not called purple, violet, it's the Sugar Flare colour. I'll just put this through the pasta machine. So I've rolled this in my pasta machine and it's on setting number 2, and we just need to cut out a few more petals. So we've got 7 there, that might do. We'll try that, hey? So just thinning the edges. Veiner. Now I might try and use a paintbrush, something a bit fatter than what I would normally use, maybe that one, to curl some edges. So we want it quite chunky. That looks quite good. Yeah. Let's get our silicone mould, tip it over the back. We'll try and cup them a little bit. We'll curl them all first. And the last one, I'm quite happy with that curl. Now we'll set them out on here, pinching to get a nice cup shape. I'm not quite sure how many I'm going to need to use yet. And we'll need another. That one there. And we'll just put these in the oven for a minute or two. Alright, they're out of the oven and we'll stick them onto our rose. They've firmed up nicely and they've got a nice cupped shape, so that's just perfect. Let's bring that over here. Tipping them upside down on my board. Glue in a V shape. Down each side. I'm interested to see how it's going to look after this row goes on. At the moment I'm thinking that this row probably should have been a little bit bigger. But anyway, we've done it. Let's see how we go. Might just have to stick it on a little bit higher. And these aren't really in a, so I might just stick them on wherever, actually. This is an interesting way of doing a rose, which I've never done before. Maybe one there. Have a look. One there. One there. That one there's a bit. See if I can get that one out. I don't like that one there. A little bit smaller. Yeah, I think I would have done them a bit bigger. How does that look? Now just to secure them on. Probably need to pull it out a little bit, that's what I need to do. Yep, that's getting to be how I want it to look. Don't know about that one there. It's a really interesting rose. It's not very orderly. Kind of random. I don't really like that one there either. So I might tip that upside down. And I'll put that in the oven to dry for a few minutes. While that's drying in the oven, I'll do the wired petals to go around the outside. I don't want these to sit snugly up close to the previous row, so I'm going to wire them so I can put them wherever I want them. So I've got some petals already cut out, and the second thinnest setting on my pasta machine, and this is a 6.5 centimetre circle cutter. So let's thin these out. I'm doing 7, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't know if I'll need them all. Last one here. Okay, we need to vein them. I'm just kind of pushing it into the veiner. It's almost too big for this veiner. Just make sure the top of it comes inside the veiner, doesn't hang over. It's better to hang over the bottom. I'm getting a bit of an edge, so I need to pull it down. That's better. Veining all 7. And the last one, alright, I'll just go and get some wire for us to wire these petals up. I've chosen a number 26 wire. It's quite a big size wire. I'd normally use a 28, but these are quite fat, chunky petals. So I need to snip this into sections. And that should do us. Put some glue on the end, then push it through. Squeeze and squeeze. So it's about 1/3 of the way up that petal. I'm going to roll that over. Roll there. Roll there. Pinch it there. Let it dry there. Another one, some wire, glue on the end of the wire. Thread it in till it's 1/3 of the way into the petal. Let's curl the edges. And place it. Give it a bit of a pinch. place it over our mould, and we'll carry on and do that to all the petals. Right, let's put them into the oven. Alright, the petals are out of the oven. It's actually the next day, so they've been drying overnight, and I've also made some extra ones. So we've got, I think, 12 altogether here. We may not need them all, but I've got them here just in case. So this is where we left our rose there yesterday. Hope you can see that. It's a bit squished and mushed, and the petals aren't evenly spaced, but that's okay. This is a different kind of rose. So let's attach the wide petals. I have some florist tape, and I've got the narrow one. I would probably use the wider one. This is not a good batch. It's actually quite brittle. So I'm going to use the thinner tape. I've stretched it out to loosen it up a bit. So we've got it upside down on my board. This is probably the easiest way to do it, and I'm going to make this petal, the tip of it touch the board, push the wire up against the stick. And I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times and pull it nice and tight. Flip it up. Yes, that looks good. So we're just going to maybe put another one there. We're not going to overlap. Normally with a rose I would overlap them nicely, the next one and the next one all the way around. But this rose is not behaving quite like that. Wrap the tape around again. Nice. So we'll do, say, about 4 petals. Is that going to reach there? No, we'll save that one. Some of them have got the wires that are too short, so we'll do the longer ones. This one here, some of them look like the wire's about to, and there we go. We can still use that. This one here. Push it up against the stick. And wrap around. Another one. Do I'm going to reach? Yes. Now, something I will probably do differently next time is with each row of petals, I place them up a little bit higher each time. Next time I would probably not go quite up so far. You can see the centre petals in quite deep. I would probably have that up higher, so I wouldn't have this big gap here like what I've got this time. So we need a few more. That looks good. So we can maybe place them a bit closer to the stick. Maybe one here. This, I'm not being that exact. Let's have a look. If I'm not happy with the height of them, I can always pull them down a little bit at this point. Wrap that around again. Yeah. Yep, that looks good. Tape it on. Another one, I'd say about there. Yep, that looks good. Tape it on. Pulling one down a little bit. Looks like there might be a gap here. Yep, that looks good. By now my tape's kind of all gone curly. I'm not worried about that. Let me flip that over. Yeah, and I think I need one more here, and I think that might do. on. And wind it around. Let's have a look at it like that. And I think that looks pretty good for the first go. There are some changes that I would make. I would, as I said, keep that centre petal up a bit higher. Maybe make about this part here, I'd make those petals probably slightly bigger, but not major changes. I'm overall quite pleased on how it looks. Maybe another one here. So some of these lower petals, and I would probably make a few more wide petals. I would just maybe use a few petals that haven't got wires on them. And when this rose is placed on the cake, that's when you can do the petals at the back, fill in any gaps and insert some more. But overall, I'm quite pleased with that. I hope you like the Blue Moon. I've had a lot of fun making it. It's actually been a little bit stressful. But I hope you give it a go, and maybe you might be able to make some changes and do a better job. So if you do have a go, please send me some pictures. Contact me through LeslieMatsisCakes.com. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.